I know a lot of you probably have something to say in regards to Elliot, so there'll be an open mic in the fellowship hall afterward to let the youth schools. Okay, Fred?
Ellie's grandfather, grandma sitting there. We lived on the coast of Maine for many years. It was a perfect place for young children, Olivia, Elliot, to come and visit lighthouses, play in the rocks along the ocean. 5 years ago, we moved to Utah. It was even a better place for teenagers now to hike, climb rocks, mountains. Difficult places, even a few places where I said wasn't safe for them to go, even though Olivia especially knew she wanted to go there. Appropriately, the place that I wouldn't allow them to go was what Olivia, Angel Landing. But we did many things. So I thought I'd take a few moments today to mention about Elliot's last trip, and I do have some things written down here so I don't make any mistakes. Earlier this year, it was decided that Elliot and his dad would visit us in Utah during spring break. That was just 2 months ago. He arrived with something very special for his grandma. Elliot was good. Elliot was good with videotape materials and made a CD combining the earliest videos of baby pictures with performances of Olivia and he on stage with this wonderful choir that's going to be helping us celebrate in a few minutes. It was the most wonderful gift we could possibly have given to his grandma. But the big question was, where will we go for a hike today? And is there a better hike for tomorrow? We had a good hike in Snow Canyon National Park, a Jeep ride on a rough dirt road out to a beautiful waterfall on a stream out in the desert. There was a great hike to Bryce Canyon National Park, where we followed the trail down 1,000 feet through incredible sandstone formations, and then worked our way back up to the top. The highlight of the trip was a hike to Zion National Park. It was a 10-mile hike through a part of Zion's wilderness area, which overlooked spectacular canyons and eventually led us on down through a series of switchbacks, switchbacks down to the place where we had parked our second car. There are places that challenged me, like some of the long uphill slopes, and places that challenged Elliot, coming down a set of switchbacks that still had snow. We all faced the challenge of completing the hike before dark, and it was a serious challenge. It was a very special experience for our 3 generations to support each other and get to know each other a little better as we accomplish the goal that we'd set out to achieve. And made Ellie's wonderful life in the church. And thank you. Thank you very much.
I'm Scott's sister Diana, and I'm honored that I was Elliot's aunt. And they say you speak best from personal experience, and that's what I'm going to share with you. Our son Logan is affectionately known as our tag-along with his sisters 9 and 12 years older. My husband and I were at times concerned because we both grew up with several siblings close to our age. We wanted some of the same experiences afforded us for Logan. Well, God provides what we need even before we ask for it. 3.5 years before Logan was born, Scott and Jill blessed Elliot. Little did we know at the time, but Elliot would be a brother God would give Logan. They became the best of friends somewhere along their growing up way. My memory, connecting first with Legos, no pun intended, then moving on to video games, movie watching and making, and a love of the outdoors. Elliot was not only a best friend, but a mentor, coach, and teacher. When Elliot was involved in wrestling, he became more aware of physical fitness. He took Logan to our local track for running and calisthenics in our basement, moving him into shape. He took high school class about movie making, and soon he was teaching Logan about green screens, stop motion, and other behind-the-scene intricacies. More importantly, Elliot was an excellent role model. He taught and modeled a hardworking individual who used his God-given gifts, and he didn't let them go to waste. He had a natural gift of guitar playing and coupled that with numerous hours of practice. Then he was able to bless people by leading in worship and inspiring others in concert. Elliot was always ready to help others, whether a neighbor, friend, or family member in need, or through missions work. Sometimes it was little things like helping us with dishes or giving us a back rub that meant the most to us. Elliot also gave the gift of making others feel accepted and loved, to feel good about themselves by praising their accomplishments. With his wit and good-natured disposition, he brought life and laughter into our lives. He also coined some original phrases, and one of my favorites was, after he tried an undesired meal, "That's survival food. I'd eat it if I had to survive." It's true, Elliot was a special needs individual because he met our special needs of love, laughter, and hope. That God can do more than we can ask or imagine. Elliot was proof of that. We love you, Elliot.
My name's Terry Dawson. I'm Scott's brother. Elliot was my nephew and one of the most remarkable people I've ever met in this life. Now, I'm the grown-up, and Elliot was a teenager, but it seemed like Elliot was always teaching me lessons. So I'm going to talk about some of the things I learned from Elliot that were really special. Elliot believed that you share what you love with other people. You don't keep that to yourself. And it was oftentimes something that was really unexpected and that you would never dream of doing yourself. So I remember 2 years ago sitting at my house on the couch, Thanksgiving, with Elliot and his cousin Logan, watching movie clips from that great American classic, Sharknado. And we're sitting there cutting up and laughing. And Elliot seemed to carry a perpetual time machine that would enable a 55-year-old man to suddenly become, again, a goofball teenager. And there were little things. I'm from Indiana, so I'd never heard of Sweet Martha's chocolate chip cookies. We went to the state fair last year, and Elliot told me, "Hey, we're going to get some of these Sweet Martha's chocolate chip cookies." "Hey, great, Elliot. That's terrific. We'll have a cookie or two." "Well, you don't need a cookie or two, Elliot. You need a bucket of cookies." And we walked through the Midway, and I think we ate 27 cookies before we made it to the parking lot. And then you all know there was music with Elliot. I vividly remember when Elliot was first starting to play guitar because I had just, at my age, decided I wanted to play the music for him. So he was at my house. And in contrast to Elliot, I am the world's worst guitar player. If it has more than 3 chords and it's not a Beatles song, I can't play it. But Elliot and I sat down and I showed him what I knew. And my son Kendall showed him a few guitar licks. And Elliot said, "You guys are better than I am." Well, the next time we saw Elliot was better than we are. The next time we saw Elliot, he was showing me stuff I didn't even understand. The next time I saw Elliot, he was Eric Clapton. Now, how did he get that way? Elliot had a grit and a determination that was far beyond the blight of his years. He loved to learn. Always learning something. He learned how to wrestle. He learned how to play guitar. He learned how to make movies. If you were around him long enough, he learned how you worked too. He learned what made you tick. He knew where to touch you. He knew where to reach you. He knew how to bind you to his heart. And he did with me. Now, Elliot's life had obstacles, But Elliot was a tremendous reminder that while it does happen, life also is about fun. And Elliot was the fun. When he came to your house, it's like he brought his own electrical storm, and he brought a plan with him. Just this past Thanksgiving, Elliot created the Dawson inaugural Thanksgiving Day ping pong tournament. And one of Elliot's life lessons is everybody's in. Elliot didn't believe in cliques. He didn't believe in being cool for cool's sake. We were all in it together. So grandma played, aunts and uncles played, everybody's in, cousins played, no matter what your skill level. And of course, everyone loved Elliot's quick wit. We wished a happy 18th birthday. He replied, I can now do sports gambling. One of my favorites is from Diversity Day. Many of you have either been there in person or you've seen the clips. And I love when somebody was introducing Elliot, they said, well, you know, I'm not really that musical, so I'm not really sure how to explain what Elliot does. And Elliot turns to her and he says, shredding it. Elliot didn't just shred a guitar. Elliot shredded life. One of my favorite memories of Elliot is from the state fair again last year. Scott and Olivia and Elliot and I went to the fair. And Elliot, of course, he loves superheroes. So we're walking through the Midway, and lo and behold, there's these guys who are dressed up like Avengers, right? The Avengers impersonators. Man, we gotta get a picture of this. So we all line up, take our battle stance, with the Avengers, get our picture taken. And as I was looking and reflecting on that picture, there's 5 people in that picture, and it occurred to me that 4 of us were pretending to be superheroes, and there was one actual superhero in that picture. Because if you ever met Elliot Dawson, you know he was a supernatural, walking, talking, one-man army of love, faith, goodness, and joy. And God knows we need more of that.
I stand up here today feeling extreme honor and immense sadness as I try to remember a student who was so special to so many. I'm Teal Mead, and I've had the privilege of being Elliot's teacher over the past 4 years. As a teacher, I can say there are very few students who are loved by almost everyone in a high school, but Elliot was one of those people. He was so many things to so many people: friendly, talented, hardworking, kind-hearted, determined. Recently, in my English class, I had students work on an informative speech about themselves. As part of that speech, students had to tell us 5 facts about themselves, 3 likes, 3 dislikes, and their philosophy on life. I would like to share Elliot's with you today. Facts. I play guitar. As a side note, Elliot didn't just play the guitar. He was a mostly self-taught heavy metal enthusiast who thrived at performing live. I have a strange personality. I'm a big Star Wars fan. I'm good at computers. I'm good at video making. 3 things I like: saving the Earth, Star Wars Battlefront 2, and metal music. 3 things I dislike: salad, restrictions, and misbehaved classes. Elliot's philosophy on life is that even though things may look impossible, all that matters is that you put up a fight, because you'll never regret putting up a fight. And don't forget to celebrate after you put up that fight. When I think of all the things that Elliot has taught me, this was the #1 life lesson. Even when things seem impossible, all that matters is that you give it your all. Since I have come to know Elliot and all of his wonderful qualities, I've always hoped that my own children would grow up to be just like Elliot. In fact, I think I've told Scott and Jill that a couple times. Elliot was unbelievably hardworking. He was determined and accomplished so much more than I think so many expected because of the intrinsic motivation he had towards achieving his goals. Best of all, on top of all of these qualities, Elliot was sweet, compassionate, and giving. Elliot would show his compassion in many different ways. If someone didn't have a partner for a class project, he would say, "They can be with us." Or when we would be reading a sad novel in English class, and I would be crying so hard that I could hardly get the words out, Elliot would say, "Mrs. Geed, I know you're a really emotional person. Do you need me to read to the class for you?" Elliot's life was cut dramatically short. He still had so much to offer the world, so much to see, so many experiences still to be had, and millions of memories to make. It is now our job to carry out the memories and lessons he has taught us by living our lives to the fullest, by taking chances and always putting up a fight, and being the kind of person that Elliot displayed to everyone, every day. In memory of Elliot, I will forever try to be the teacher, mother, and friend who exudes the qualities that Elliot has taught me and shown others. He will be deeply missed as we approach the milestones in life that he should be present to experience. To Elliot's family, I hope you can find comfort through happy memories and lean on each other as you face the difficult times ahead.
Scott, Jill, and Olivia, it has been an honor to experience your family. Your hearts and ours are heavy as we grieve the loss of Elliot. You maybe, along the way, have questioned why Elliot and I, the teacher, have experienced a great friendship. And it could be that Elliot shared passion for lifting weights. My first experience ever meeting him, I walked into the weight room and Elliot had 40 more pounds on than what he should have saved. I instructed Elliot to maybe decrease the weight, and then he looked at me like I was crazy. Could have been Elliot raised his hand to answer every single question I ever asked in class. It's like a turkey rising out of a hayfield, real slow like this. Could have been we had a unique nature for exchanging fist bumps in the hallway. Elliot would walk, I would rise my fist, he would stop abruptly, we would fist bump, and then we'd both go like that. Could be that Elliot brought his band to play at one of our football practices. The night was like the most beautiful night, and I couldn't help but reflect on the fact that all of my worlds had come together in one. I was watching football players smash each other in front of me as Elliot's band played Symphony of Destruction. Could be Elliot was the greatest actor in our classroom skits of all time. One time Elliot was charged with making a reality TV show which featured a Mongol family. And he was so excited, it actually took him about 5 to 7 seconds to start the skit. And he paused and waited and said, "Welcome to our Mongol family." It could be Elliot and our friendship grew because it survived our heated disagreements about the rocker Dave Mustaine. We had several conversations, and he desperately loved Dave Mustaine. I desperately hated Dave Mustaine, and Elliot couldn't understand why. And one day I told Elliot, I just can't do it. I can't do it anymore. I can't listen to him. And Elliot's provided an explanation I'll never forget, which was, well, I like him because he loves music. And I'll never forget that. Could be that Elliot once sang Walking in a Winter Wonderland with a group of classmates in class. Only Elliot didn't realize, standing in front of them, that he was singing about 30 decibels louder than they were. My parents, when I think of our friendship, I recall a unique set of circumstances from my childhood. My parents were wonderful people. They had all of these unique punishments they would have us have to endure. And I remember one time getting detention and standing outside of school, and I was goofing around with my friends, and my mom pulled into the parking lot, and as she pulled into the parking lot, she was playing polka music very loudly. So I had to race in and turn it down. I was highly embarrassed. Another time, I remember she would take me and my brothers if we made a mistake or goofed around or whatnot, and she would sit us down and make us watch public television. And one of the public television shows that was popular at the time was the Gene Autry Cowboy Show. And the show ended with a song by Bill Anderson. And Bill Anderson's song ended with a phrase that I will forever assign to our friendship and remember him by. The quote was, "No goodbyes, just so long for a while."
Hi, my name is Connor Kressel, a Hudson High School graduate and friend of Elliot. I would first like to extend a huge thank you to Scott Dawson for granting me the opportunity to share some words about the life of my dear friend, and I'm also thankful for Shepherd of the Valley and all who arranged this service today, so that we can celebrate the life and accomplishments of Elliot and have a chance to say goodbye. I was blessed with the opportunity to meet and grow close with Elliot in Mrs. Eads' class in high school and through attending the Wednesday night youth program here at Shepherd. One of the first things I noticed and value about Elliot is how well we were able to communicate with one another about really anything. And it was awesome how he would always offer up a unique, humorous perspective on topics that could brighten even the lowest of days and get us laughing. I also loved how passionate and knowledgeable he was in areas that were of interest to him. He would often teach me facts about metal bands we both enjoyed, or show me filmmaking strategies he would use in production and editing. Not to mention his guitar skills, which could inspire almost anyone to pick up a guitar and try shredding like he could. On a few occasions, the student body had a chance to witness his legendary skills. He was sat next to perform at Diversity Days, and the sound started ringing around a sweet child of mine in the packed auditorium. Everyone was anxiously looking at the stage, waiting for Elliot to come out, but he surprised everyone by walking down the aisles from the back of the auditorium, playing the song perfectly. On another occasion, he performed a song on guitar with his sister on piano, and it was beautiful to see that combination of family talent. The student body at Hudson High also had the opportunity to see Elliot moving between classes on a daily basis, and hopefully will remember the positive presence he exuded. And those that were on the wrestling team with him had the opportunity to see his unrelenting dedication in action. My favorite memory that will always remain with me, even though he has passed to a better place, is the chance we had last summer to go to the Will Rock Fest near Milwaukee. Elliot and I loaded up the van at about 4:30 a.m., both super stoked for the day ahead. First thing he did was pull out his iPod and put on a huge playlist of the famous band Rush. And I'd say we rocked out harder on the drive there than we did at the actual festival. His energy and excitement were contagious. He also taught me more about Rush that day than anyone ever had. I think he did a better job than Wikipedia could have done. I would like to conclude by saying that just last Thursday, Elliot was told playing his first men's softball game with his dad the following week on the team that I also play on. Even though Elliot couldn't make it to the game last night, we reserved the leadoff spot on the batting lineup for him, and will continue to play ball for the rest of the season with him in our hearts. Thank you and rest in peace, Elliot. I always remember you and how you were a beacon of light during your time on Earth, and your legacy will live on.
Hello, my name's Tobin. Elliot Dawson. How can you hear that name and not smile both inside and out? As coaches, we first met Elliot when he came out in wrestling in middle school. He, like most at that age, knew little or nothing about the sport. A single leg, a double leg, a half, or a cradle were like a foreign language to him, even though the first year or so he found himself on the receiving end of most of them. But if you paid attention, really paid attention to the changes in Elliot, you could see he loved the sport, but it was how he approached life every day that was inspiring. The beginning was pretty tough. Getting him to understand not to throw a right cross when the ref said wrestle took some doing. But with each loss, Elliot was more determined and used each loss as a stepping stone to improve both in the sport and in himself. At times, barely able to pick himself up off the mat, he would always extend his hand to the victor, pat him on the back, and retire to the area of his teammates and get ready for the next match. He may have lost, but he was never defeated. Elliot improved and lost, and continued to improve and lose that first year, and even into the second season, until just before Christmas break at the Ellsworth Tournament in the second year, at which point all of his hard work and determination paid off. He won 3 matches in a row that night. The gym was full of cheers and hoorays from parents, fans, teammates, and opponents alike. And even though the night was Elliot's, when one of the Hudson coaches came over to give him a hug for accomplishments, Elliot stuck out his hand and said, "Merry Christmas, Coach." After that night, his winning record soared, but his sportsmanship and attitude on the mat stayed the same. The same handshake, pat on the back, and respect for his opponents, even though he was the one now winning. Elliot had a great sense of humor. Nick Yoder, one of the middle school coaches, would always start out practice by Nick would run across the mat, do a flip in the air, and land on his feet. After a while, Elliot said, okay, thought that would be his new signature move as well. But seldom, if ever, did Elliot stick the landing or end up upright as Nick did. He was pretty quick-witted as well. If a coach was late, Elliot wasted no time in going over and telling him, practice started 15 minutes before you got here. Or the time he put me in my place when I had no idea Elliot could play the electric guitar. So I said, sure, bring it in, you can play it. And to my surprise, did he play. His teammates found some electric speakers, and he put on a show. it was awesome, and it was all Elliot. To those coaches at the time in middle school, Yoder, Fite, Koski, and myself, Elliot changed right before our eyes. He went from a quiet, shy outsider to an athlete, outstanding teammate, friend, and a great young man. Monday on the phone, in a phone conversation, Elliot's dad said, "I don't know how the two of you click so well." The truth is, I don't know either. But it was Elliot's way. What I do know is this simple fact. He touched and inspired my life. I will never forget him, and I am a better person because of him. God bless you, Elliot, and thank you.